Let me know when it's
Okay,
Is
this
it-
webinar, this
live streamed.
webinar is being live streamed.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm not seeing it yet.
it's coming.
Please let me know if the YouTube link you're sharing to. Can you see the name of the channel or the title?
It said, "Be the tiger in your field with eyes on the target."
Okay.
It's live.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can see. Let me come in. Okay, just give me a second. It's coming up. Okay, so I can see it now. So I can share my screen and show you. I can see it.
Okay.
I can see the sunrise. You're the one you just talked now. So someone else should just say something. Let me see if I can see it.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to see if I will see your name from the YouTube.
Okay.
Or Madam Aka, see if you can share
it?
your screen. Just share your screen. Let's see if I can see it from here.
Can you see mine? Maybe it's only panelists you can see. Can you see it?
No, I can't see yours.
You can see mine too. Okay.
Let me also. Okay, I can see Ngozi Idemilaro. I think it takes a while before it populates to Zoom. You know, it transmits from Zoom to YouTube. So I think it takes like a second. I can see Idemilaro on the back. Let me join. Let me open the YouTube link with my phone and see. I can see Dr. Ezichukwu here now. Madam, can you share it? Is anyone sharing?
Yes, I want to.
I will screenshot and send in the chat what I can
I
see.
think there is a live stream link I shared on the chat. Can somebody try it?
Okay, I have sent what I can see on our WhatsApp. You can check also.
I shared the YouTube link on the chat. Can somebody try it?
Yes, I clicked on it and I'm on YouTube. And I'm on the YouTube.
I'm sure.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
We didn't hear you.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I want to, if someone can just share screen, let me confirm that. Then I want to go off, log out from the Zoom and see if I can hear everything from you. Hello?
I want to share a screen. No, I can't share a screen.
Madam Amaka or anybody can share a screen. Okay, doctor, okay. Okay, so let me check on YouTube if I can see this.
So can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay, but can you see it not on Zoom? I mean, others on the webinar, can they see it?
Yes, we can see on webinar. Okay, I can see it on YouTube as well. Let me send the screenshot. So
what I want to do now, YouTube.
Yeah, I can see it on YouTube. What I want to do now is, yes.
So I can stop sharing now, right?
No. Just wait. Okay. I want to log out from. I want to log out on Zoom. Okay. I can see. You can see on webinar and on YouTube. Yes. So what I want to do is leave Zoom and then see if I can hear everything from YouTube. No, wait.
I can hear you on YouTube.
So what I want to do is leave Zoom and then see if I can hear everything from YouTube. No, wait.
I can hear you on YouTube.
Please, I think we should be kind of getting ready for the meeting. We just have like 13 minutes. The presenter and some other people will may join some minutes, and it will be good for us to also be there early so that we can start at 4. So we can.
Hello?
Yeah, Emma, I can hear you.
Yeah, the YouTube is working fine. So I don't know if we should remain here or go back to the meeting and join by 4.
Oh, we will remain here. It's almost time.
Okay.
Remain here.
Everything is working. We can also send chats from the YouTube. I tested all that.
Okay, that's good. This is just 12 minutes. So ideally, we should join like 10 minutes before any meeting as the host and now wait for others. Shama, I think your hand is raised.
And Dr. What you said is actually that because our limits.
Okay, that's the 500.
We can say let us leave and then join later.
Of course.
So, Amaka, please, can Amaka take Prof in? Prof is there. Take Prof in, please. Take Ngozi Demili in as panelists, 2 of them. I'm looking up. Can you take the 2 of them in now, please? Prof and please. Thank you.
Also, Rita Moma's hand is raised.
Can we do what we did the other time that people could talk, please?
No, it's easy. Once you're a panelist, if you move your cursor over that person's name, you will see allowed to talk. And once you do that, the person can talk.
Good morning. I got promoted to a panelist.
He wants to talk.
Yes, Prof. Welcome. Rita, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Am I in the right place?
You are in the webinar, yes.
Because I was using the other link and it kept telling me the host has another meeting. The host
and the other link was our regular meeting. This is a webinar link.
So we're not using that link today.
We just did, but we had a lot of things to sort out here to correct a lot of things. So we just finished doing that.
Oh, okay. The meeting, wasn't it at wasn't it at 7:30? Oh my god.
Is the time different that caused the problem?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
I am so sorry. I was working
the same for me.
Oh my gosh, so sorry. Okay. So it's almost an hour and a half. Okay, I'll have to fix mine. So it's now 7:30, right?
No, it will still be 6:30 from moving forward.
Oh, okay.
But this is this webinar. The only problem we had is that today was Monday, so it was a time change. It was a regular meeting, and it was that webinar. So, but from next week we will still continue at 6:30 here. Just that it will be 3:30 in Nigeria instead of 2:30.
Okay. That will still be my 8:30 here in Mississippi.
All right. We have like 7 minutes to get started.
Hi, Angie, please help us to be looking out for Prof, please, so we can bring him in here.
So I'm muted now. Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yes,
Prof, we can hear you.
Okay. Right.
Please, I have a challenge here. Most of us will speak and it keeps re-echoing minutes after we have spoken.
We're not getting it here, so it must be something you are doing. Let's look up to you. I hear you clearly without an echo.
Exactly. So do you
Exactly.
have
Same
to,
thing
you,
here.
did you open this webinar on your phone and on your laptop? If they're close together, that's what's happening.
So the problem is Dr. Onyeka will be speaking, Prof will be speaking the same time. How do we solve it?
We're able to hear it clearly. You just hear two people talking.
Yeah, it's happening only
I'm
for
just
you,
saying that
Amaka.
I can hear Onyeka very well. I can hear you very well. I can hear Frank very well. And I'm not getting an echo. Is anybody else getting an echo?
No.
No.
So they're saying if you have YouTube open on her phone as well, then that causes the echo.
Yeah, Dr. Stephanie said that. Wow. Yeah. Amaka, is YouTube open on your phone?
Okay. Yes. Now I understand.
Okay, so shut it down. Okay, so take it away or shut it down.
I've just done. I hope I've done that. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, team. I think we are good to go. Yeah, but even the panelists, we need to mind who speaks when. So
Amaka,
that they
please, Amaka, please, can you get Professor Okebuno into this portion? He's already here. Amaka, did you hear me?
I've done that.
Oh, I can't see him here yet.
Maybe it's a network delay. I've done that.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, everyone. Good evening.
Hi, John.
It's like he dropped off. I'm not seeing him anywhere now. But
Hello,
I
John.
admitted him with Dr. Olawepo at the same time. So let me go back to him.
He's still there. He's still there. He's still there. He hasn't. He's still there.
I promoted them before. They dropped off. I've done that again.
No, he will have to admit it himself. It will send him a message to join the panel. So he has to click it before he'll be able to come in.
Dear colleagues, thanks for the promotion.
Welcome, Prof.
That's good.
It says the host has promoted you. Good one.
Okay. So just a few minutes and we'll be there. Yeah. Welcome all.
Hello, everyone. The webinar will be starting in a few minutes from now. Thank you for your patience. So it's exactly 4 p.m. West African time, and I would like to welcome everyone to the November webinar series of the Center for Translation and Implementation Research of the University of Nigeria in Southeast Nigeria. And I know that wherever you're joining from, whatever part of the continent and of the world you're joining from, you're very welcome to the webinar today. And today we'll have a very distinguished professor speaking to us. And at this point, I would like the director of the Center for Translation and Implementation Research, Professor Echezona Ezanolue, to introduce our speaker for today to us. Prof, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone. For those of you who are new to our program, Emmanuel, can you turn on my video? But for those of you who are new to our monthly webinar, we try to use this opportunity to bring experts around the world with skills that are very useful for what we do, which is a focus on the use of implementation science, frameworks, and strategies to improve health outcome. So every month we have the honor of introducing one of our special guests. And today I have the honor of introducing Professor Okebuna, who is the team lead at the Research Development and Innovation at World Health Organization. Before he joined the World Health Organization, he was a professor of sociology and anthropology at the University of Nigeria. He is a Fulbright scholar and currently a fellow of the Takemi program at Harvard School of Public Health. For those of you who are new to implementation science, you will also know that the WHO has a lot of resources on its website, especially the WHO Toolkit for Implementation Science and Research. So today we are going to have Professor Okebuna talk to us about being the tiger in our chosen profession and keeping our eyes on the target. Welcome, Professor Okebuna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. I hope you can hear me well.
Can.
Can you hear me? Because I'm getting some vibration. I don't know.
Can hear you very well from my side.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof, for for the privilege to appear on this very exalted platform this afternoon to talk to you about my personal story in the research world, and of course also tell your audience a few things about opportunities that are available in WHO. Then finally talk about implementation research as much as time would permit. It looks like I am.
We're hearing you very well.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen.
We can see the slide. Yes,
yeah.
And we can see the slide.
Okay, again, I was told that a good number of young people are growing in this very platform, CITER. And so I've decided to title my talk, Be the Tiger in Your Field. In every field, you have the tiger and you have the timid. I was once traveling through one of the airports in Europe, and it said there, in every field you have the tiger and you have the timid. Be the tiger in your field. So, it caught my eyes, and I thought it really applies to what we are doing today. So, as Prof said, I trained in the University of Nigeria and got my PhD in sociology and anthropology, but joined the faculty as a member in 1995. That is before I got my PhD. And then I moved on to join WHO in 2012. And of course, I also did a fellowship in international health from the Harvard School of Public Health. And when I returned, I gave my inaugural lecture to the university community, which on the 29th of September 2011, which happened to be the second inaugural lecture from my Department of Sociology and Anthropology. The first inaugural lecture was in 1970, by Professor Nzimiro. So I gave the second inaugural lecture in my department, and it was titled Health Services for the Poor by the Poor. It was, in essence, it was a chronicle of all my research work before that day, which were essentially an implementation research in nature, trying to improve the delivery of health services, looking for ways of improving and reducing the obstacles in the delivery of health services. The interesting thing is that when I was giving that lecture, many people were surprised that as a sociologist, I was talking more of public health. So most of my colleagues then and people, members of the university community did not quite understand that a sociologist could go to Harvard School of Public Health and come back and be talking about public health. Funny enough, also, you find that a couple of weeks back, just before I was asked to give this talk, I encountered a young Nigerian here in Brazzaville. And, she was surprised that a sociologist, how come you are in WHO regional office, So I tried to make her understand that, first of all, I'm in the area of research, which cuts across every field. But more importantly is that health is not limited to medicine. Health is different from medicine. So I had to make that clear. And the important thing also is that when you distinguish yourself in your field, there is the likelihood that people will look for you from all over. I have one very interesting short story to give. As I was leaving Nigeria to join WHO, I was in the airport and, with my wife. She was seeing me off. We were in the airport in Abuja. And I got a call from the World Bank. And I was told, oh, we advertised for this consultancy. We didn't see you apply for it. So I said, I'm sorry, I didn't apply because I'm leaving the country. And I will not be able to, I'm joining the UN, and I will not be able to give this kind of consultancy services anymore. And they say, okay, but there's a young lady from your university that applied. Would you be able to give her support from a distance, if we decide to pick on her? So that is how it is, that when you distinguish yourself, when you work hard and you make yourself known, you begin to select what jobs you want to do and the ones you do not want to do. And as a matter of fact, that is what it also means when I emphasize focus your eyes on the target. So most young people at the early stages of their career get confused by the pecuniary benefits of the career vis-a-vis the real career benefits of a career. And when you get so distracted with the pecuniary benefits, the tendency is that you remain a dog or a sheep in your field. While those who put their eyes on the career advancement, grow to become tigers in the field. So the tigers are known to have certain attributes. Tigers are ambitious, focused on worthwhile goals. They do not allow distractions. So when they see the goal, they focus on that goal. Tigers are self-motivated. Tigers are courageous. They get out of comfort zone. They don't stay in comfort zone to enjoy the benefits of the comfort zone as against, and in that process, sacrifice their tomorrow. Tigers are self-confident and enthusiastic, but more importantly, they also are team players. So these are attributes of the tiger that I want the young ones to take away. So CITEL provides an opportunity for the young scientists, young scholars growing to define themselves in the field of implementation research. So at this stage, it is not the time to begin to count the pecuniary benefits, but the time to begin to count the experiences, the growth, the knowledge you acquire from CITEL to advance yourself. About 3 weeks ago, I was Professor B. Naunjekwe was here in Brazzaville. We're talking about young people and mentorship and how it is difficult to get young people to mentor them today. And I told him that once I had to walk on my 2 feet from Ugwoba. I don't know if you people know Ugwoba. There is this expressway from Enugu to Onitsha. From that expressway, you walk into the interior of Anambra State. So I moved from Ugwoba to a place called Awa. And this is a journey of about 12 hours on foot, because my supervisor said, go and do rapid epidemiological mapping of onchocerciasis. So if I'm doing rapid epidemiological mapping of onchocerciasis, I had to move from village to village. So it didn't make sense that I joined taxi, because when you join taxi, before you move, you've seen another village. Before you move, you've seen another village. So I walked like that from morning till I got to Awa in the night, and I slept in my supervisor's house. He happened to come from Awa. That is Professor D.S. Obikeze, if you know him. And the following morning, I walked back and completed the other villages that I haven't covered. So that is what it takes to grow. That is how painstaking it could be. And like I said also, tigers are found in every discipline. So sometimes you find that people think that being a social scientist, you are handicapped. Studying anthropology, you are handicapped. Studying religion, archaeology, and the rest of them. But that is not the truth. The truth is that in all these fields, from drawing from University of Nigeria alone, you can identify the tigers. So you see the picture of Professor Obukalu. Obukalu was a professor of religion, but he was a distinguished scholar who unfortunately died in the United States when he was, on an exchange program with the Harvard University. So many people know Professor Obukalu. You see, this is one of his products: Christian Mission in Africa, Success, Ferment, and Trauma. Of course, we all know Professor Soludo, the economist. We know Professor Okebano, the political scientist, and the other is Professor Adiele Afibo, who is also a very distinguished product from the University of Nigeria, from Department of History. So from all over, you could get the tigers. All you need to do is to imbibe those attributes of the tiger that distinguish you within your discipline. So again, taking you back to the World Health Organization, how one finds himself in the World Health Organization. In 1948, the United Nations formed an agency called WHO, and for them, health was defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being and not just the mere absence of disease or infirmity. So for this, therefore, you need the contributions of different disciplines to be able to ensure that one is in a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. And a distinguished professor, my professor when I was in Harvard University, Professor Michael Rich and his colleague, also noted that just because a good health intervention technology exists does not mean that it will be delivered, used, and achieve its potential to bring good health, especially for poor people in poor countries. So this is where you begin to, so one thing is to have the intervention, to have the technology. Another thing is to ensure that the intervention or technology is adequately, effectively delivered, used appropriately to achieve the good health that is desired. And this is where you begin to find different players coming to play in ensuring this. So it's not just enough to have the technology, but you have different people that now come to make sure it is delivered, it is used, and it achieves its goal. And it went further to argue that over the past several years, this realization has gained increasing acceptance around the world. And this also drives what WHO does. Acceptance that have grown with many organizations in global health, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who have invested huge sums of money trying to support the development of new technologies. For instance, development of vaccines, development of polio vaccines. We know that at some point, delivery of polio vaccine was seen as anathema in some part of Nigeria, particularly in the north, where so many, we had so much infodemic, we have so much superstition, we have rumors around it, rumors that to the effect that it causes infertility, rumors to the effect that it causes sterility and the rest of it. And you needed, this technology is there, this vaccine is there to save the life of children, but it cannot save the life of children unless it is swallowed. So how do you get the children to swallow this vaccine? So these are the kind of things, the kind of questions that implementation research come to answer. And in answering this question, you need the all hands on deck from the different disciplines. For WHO, as of today, WHO is focused on what we call the triple billion goals, guided by the 13th General Program of Work of the WHO. So the triple billion goals says that, within a specific time period, we want to achieve universal health coverage. And in doing that, we want to be able to ensure that 1 billion more people benefit from universal health coverage of proven interventions, proven health interventions. The second billion goal is addressing health emergencies. Want to ensure that 1 billion more people are better protected from health emergencies. Today, in the African region in particular, we say we record at least 100 health emergencies in a year, every year. At least 100 health emergencies. And these health emergencies come from infectious and, infectious diseases mostly. And some of these infectious diseases are diseases that have been eradicated or new emerging diseases. And the emergence or re-emergence of these diseases have a lot to do with the behavior of people, the relationship of people with their environment, particularly with the zoonotic diseases you are talking about, like talk about Ebola, talk about Marburg, and the rest of them. Then the third rank of that is promoting healthier populations, ensuring that 1 billion more people enjoy better health and well-being. This is health promotion. Again, it is also something that has to do with consistent interrogation, engagement of people and their behavior to see how best interventions can serve these people through, of course, implementation research. Then, of course, but under that, you have the different strategic shifts that WHO have to make to prepare itself to be able to achieve these 3 billion goals. From the COVID-19 came as with a big bang. It came as a new virus where much knowledge, not much was known about it, but it was spreading fast with great social and economic impact on lives of people. So Dr. Tedros, the Director General of WHO, quickly cried out and said, we need our collective knowledge, insights, and experiences to answer the questions we don't have answers to, and to identify questions we may not even realize we need to ask. So this is inviting and encouraging all players from the different walks of life, from the different fields, people who can contribute to make bare the questions that we need to answer. And in that process also identify questions we did not even know that we needed to answer. And in another contributing to a special edition of the WHO Bulletin of 2021, Dr. Tedros said, to address global and local health challenges and threats and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, and the United Nations family need to understand how and why people and communities behave in their respective contexts, how and why they behave the way they do in their respective contexts. This is pointing also to, behavioral and implementation sciences. As the global public health leader, the World Health Organization cannot achieve its ambitious goal of transforming global health and the health of more than 7 billion people without a clear understanding of people's health-related behaviors. So these are all talking about behavioral sciences and the place of the social scientists in the WHO. So before I move into more talks about implementation research, I just want to quickly flag some opportunities that exist in WHO. Having laid the background that there is a room for all professions, all fields of human endeavor in WHO, so long as you have distinguished yourself as a tiger in the field. It is a competitive, working in WHO is very rewarding, both in terms of social recognition in society, in terms of pecuniary benefits, if that's what you want to talk about, and in terms of the opportunities it gives you to grow, career-wise. So understandably, therefore, it is highly competitive. So you really need to distinguish yourself. Be that as it may, I just wanted to flag for the young ones and anyone who is interested, some of the opportunities that exist in WHO. You have, for employment of those that have distinguished themselves, you have the, what we call, there's something we call Stellis. And if you register in Stellis, you get regular updates of vacancies. For me here in WHO, I get at least 3 every day of such vacancies, that open up. So, but if you register in Stellis, you get notified from time to time, for regular employment. Then there is also the United Nations Volunteer Program, where young people volunteer to, serve within the organization and gradually develop themselves and, until they become fully capacitated to become full staffs of the organization. This link takes you to a UNDP platform. The recruitment is done by UNDP, but oftentimes posting is made to us here in WHO. I have some UNVs working with me. I make a request that I need a UNV, and asked me for the characteristics of the UMB I need, and he sent to me. Then you also have the young professional officer. You have people who come here for internship. They are about to graduate from their degree program and they needed internship. We have that opportunity. Then you also have research scholarships that WHO TDRO gives. Then, of course, implementation research. WHO TDRO is very, very reputed for the strong work it's been doing for implementation research. Like the professor, the chair of the director of the platform said, there is, TDRO has a lot of tools and materials and even training programs on implementation research. So if you click on this link, it will also take you to TDRO website and you can. So recently we just advertised for an impact grant. I collaborated, that is WHO, Afro, and TDRO, an impact grant that closed on the 26th of October. We're in the process of reviewing the applications and shortlisting the ones that we may need to take further for funding. So talking about implementation research. So from all what I have said so far, it points to the fact that technology development without implementation research will lead us to nowhere. Because implementation research helps you to find out how your technology is or interventions are working and what are the barriers the interventions are facing and what is it you need to do to ameliorate or to remove the barriers and get your interventions to realize their full potentials and the goals for which they are made. So say implementation research is a scientific inquiry into questions concerning implementation. You map it, you build it, and you use it. So implementation research is any research activity producing practically usable knowledge which can improve program implementation regardless of the type of research. But it must, regardless of the type of research, it must be a research that is geared towards improving program implementation. You have, I call it doing it yourself. So oftentimes, when you are designing implementation research, it is very, very critical that coming from the academia, you look for an implementer of the particular intervention or the particular technology that you want to study. It is the implementer that will be able to tell the academic researcher the issues they face in the field that needs to be interrogated. So say doing it yourself. So sometimes you may find an implementer that is research savvy. You may find an implementer that is scientifically robust, that may want to conduct the study himself or herself. And you have these 6 steps to follow. Contextualize the challenge, develop a proposal, plan and conduct the project, analyze and present your data, disseminate your research finding, and of course, monitor and evaluate the project. All of these take place within the context of mentoring, uptake, feedback, and continuous monitoring. The monitoring is a continuous process. For each stage you are working on, you are also conducting this monitoring. So doing it yourself, it says the overview of the process involved in the implementation research to facilitate understanding of activities and be able to conduct the project directly by the implementer. It's a simple implementation research project can be done directly, but more complex research questions should be addressed by independent researchers. So sometimes the questions are complex in such a way that doing it yourself might introduce bias. So you might need an independent researcher to be able to get the true answers to the questions you raise. Otherwise, you might miss the point, So I still on doing it yourself. You start by contextualizing from the first step we saw there, contextualizing the implementation research designed to help the implementer and decision maker. In doing this, you have to look at the problem in the context of the environment, in the context of the social, economic, and cultural environment in which you are situating or trying to use that innovation or intervention or technology. There's the need for the involvement of all relevant stakeholders. Like I said, you don't come from the university to do implementation research without having an implementer involved in that, in the design of the study. Central to implementation research is teamwork. So don't think you can go it alone. It's very, very critical. So, oftentimes implementation research design depends on what is the level of evidence you are looking at, and what is the complexity of the context in which you are conducting this study. And in contextualizing it, it's like, that is when you begin to write what you call like statement of the problem. You can put your statement of the problems in three broad categories, 3 paragraphs, so to say, 3 major paragraphs. The first being the incentive which you give to your readers to appreciate the problem. The incentive. How is this thing working in other climes? How is it faring in other climes? And how should it fare under normal circumstances? So you take a global look at it and just run an X-ray of the performance of this intervention or technology or innovation in other places. Then you now drive it to what you call the climax of your essay. The climax paragraph tells you that, despite how it works in other places, in this place, it is not working well. Despite, it could be despite, it could be however statement, or despite statement, or in spite statement, things like that, that shows some kind of contradiction that throws out the gap between the what is and what ought to be. So you are not trying to, do the argument that this is what it ought to be, but this is what it is on the ground. Then you now move on to your resolution. Resolution is talking about, haven't realized that there is this gap. What do you want to do? And this resolution carries you straight to your method section. So if I read your statement problem, I see the incentive, I look at the climax, and I see your resolution without seeing your methodology or your method section, so to say. I can easily say this is the method this person wants to use if your resolution is properly stated. In view of this situation, in view of this gap which has been identified, I want to, or this study is designed to, and so on and so forth. So from there, one would know whether you are designing, some kind of control trial studies, or you are doing a cross-sectional observational studies, or you are going to be doing some kind of longitudinal study. But for implementation research, really, it is not encouraged to do studies, to embark on studies that are really, that take a lot of time to complete, because you want to be able to address the problem immediately. So you now move from contextualization to development of your proposal. So purpose of the research proposal, we talk about forces investigators to clarify their thoughts on why research is being conducted. So want to know, because when I was in the university, sometimes my students will submit their projects, or what we call the proposals, and we put some question marks. So what? So if it is not clear to your reader why you are conducting this study, You have enumerated all the problems that exist in the world about this particular issue, but you did not define the resolution. So they will just put the question mark there, so what? You know, and if you end up writing all the incentives, telling us what the problem looks like, describing all the ramifications of the problem without telling me why it is a problem, why is the gap? One wants to see the gap. What is the gap you want to fill with this your study? That becomes another issue. So you know, the purpose of the research of the proposal forces you to clarify your thoughts in sometimes you do that in a series of research questions. You know, you list research questions that kind of helps to clarify the problem you are looking at. Provides necessary guide and reference to the team members, and also essential for obtaining ethical approval. Because like I said, you know, from your contextualization of the problem and what you want to do, one is able to tell what kind of study is this? Is it ethical? Is it not ethical? Is it going to infringe on the ethical rights of the study subject and the rest of it? Then, of course, we also look at the qualities of a good proposal. A good proposal answers research questions and achieves study objectives. So if you are not able, at the end of the day, you will not be able to answer your research question and study objectives, then of course you don't have a good proposal. Once I applied for, what is it called now? MacArthur Foundation grant. I could not get the grant, unfortunately, because, well, I didn't know why I didn't get it at the time. I did not get it. But we went to Ibadan for the interview and all of that. And at the end of the day, I didn't get it. It was painful, but you don't get stuck there, you know. Whether you will fall in your quest for career development, whether you will fall is a given question. But the important thing is, when you fall, are you able to stand up? So there was an event in Awka, and there's a lady called Dr. Chio Kafo. She's a very renowned nurse. You know, she was in UNTH for, you know, I mean, not UNTH. She was in University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, the college health sciences, you know, the nursing school there. You know, but she was a very renowned person. She was a renowned MacArthur grantee and all of that. So she came to Awka when Professor Amazigo was launching her program called Broken Wings. Broken Wings is something about, you know, sexual and reproductive health, trying to train young people to stay away or their wings will be broken, you know. So then I was a student, but I coordinated the entire data collection, data analysis, and everything. So when they were launching this, Professor Amazigo called me out for special recognition, and that was how Chio Kafo saw me. So when she saw me, she now came to me and said, "Oh, I have been looking for ways to reach you, but I didn't know how to reach you since after you came to Ibadan. I didn't even know I saw her in Ibadan, but you know, but she took note of me. She said she read my proposal, that the proposal could not make it because I was competing with a lady from Enugu. And, you know, they had made up their mind that they were going to give it to a lady from Enugu. Now, that was why I didn't make it. But then she herself was looking for me because she was very much interested in that proposal. And what was her interest? According in her own words, the organic link. There was an organic link from the statement of problem through the research question, through the objective of study to the methods. So there was a link. You easily find the relationship, and you know that this study is going to be able to answer the research questions and achieve the study objectives. So, but when you have a D-link, you know, there's no link amongst these three important these three important segments of your proposal, then your funder will begin to wonder whether you really would want to, you will be able to answer the questions. And let me remind us too, research is an expensive investment, and people want to invest where they are sure they will get results. Otherwise, they don't want to waste the money. Money is scarce, of course. Then there should be feasibility, of the team and setting for the study. There should be feasibility that this study can be conducted. You don't try to impress people and propose a study that already from a glance, from a cursory look of your proposal, one sees that this study is not realizable. Then you also have to make a good case for funding. Make a good case for funding. This is not just in the quality of your proposal you are submitting, but in the discipline in budgeting. Being truthful to yourself as you are making your budgetary estimates. If the budget is too low, then the funder says, oh, this person doesn't know what he's proposing. You cannot propose this kind of study with this kind of budget, and that fails you. Again, if it is too high, it also fails you. So whichever way, you really need to be realistic about the budget. Sometimes people even do price check on you and see what what you are stating there and what is realizable. So you, for instance, you go and say one laptop will cost $10,000. There's no way in the world where a laptop costs $10,000. So that already fails you. But again, you say one laptop will cost $500. That also fails you. So you just have to be truthful to yourself as you are, budgeting, looking at the budgetary side. The budget is as important as the method. The budget is as important as the contextualization of the problem. The budget is as important as the research questions and the research objectives. So they are all equally important, and you really have to be careful there. So if you are not disciplined and you are not careful, you could miss it. Then you also have enough details to allow replication in another setting. That is to say that you define your methods carefully. That is what makes your endeavor. That is what makes the enterprise scientific. The fact that one can replicate what you have done and be able to come out with very close to the same result, or if not the same result, that is what makes it scientific. So you need to give a detailed description of what you have done. And I give a story also. I gave a consultancy to, I developed a protocol and gave to a researcher to go and implement in a French-speaking community. That was during Ebola outbreak. In DRC, they speak French and they speak Swahili, and I couldn't speak French, so I needed a consultant who could speak French to go and implement. And he took it, translated, went and implemented. And I said, okay, can you, get out scientific papers to be published in journals out of this? And this gentleman brought out the papers, and looking at the papers, looking at the method section, you see a method section with 4 lines, 3 lines, describing the method that was used to conduct the study and collect the data. And I was shocked. And this is a method I wrote by myself that ran into 4 to 5 pages, giving real details, step by step, because I know I was giving it to somebody to go and implement. I wasn't going to implement myself. And that is what you need to do. You need to, be very detailed. I used to tell my students then, when you are defending your PhD or your master's, I am not likely going to be on ground, And in most cases, I don't think there was any of my PhD students that defended with me being in Nigeria when they defended. Some of them defended while I was in when I have joined WHO. So I insist on these details, and this is very, very critical. I insist on the details. When I was in Harvard, they tell me, after writing, don't press the send button. Don't press the send button. It's something that will take, you just memorize it. Don't press the send button. You have to go through it again and again, because as simple and small, but they are very serious. So still developing, and I've talked about much of these things, introduction, research design, either qualitative, quantitative, intervention or non-intervention, data collection and analysis tools. So you do not tell me that you are going to collect qualitative data, and I don't see in your analysis session, I do not see your description of how you are going to analyze the qualitative data. Or you tell me you are going to do a mixed method, and in the analysis session, I only see the qualitative data being discussed. I didn't see the quantitative data, and stuff like that. So these are all the critical elements you have to take into consideration. Then, of course, ethical considerations. So I want to know whether you've thought through the ethical implications of the study you are going to conduct. Incidentally, here, I'm in charge of the ethical review committee for any study that either WHO is funding, providing technical support or material, or one way or the other is involved in. And these are ethical considerations that are very, very critical. So if your study is not technically sound and is not ethically sound, sometimes it could be technically sound but not ethically sound. That throws your paper away. So we look at those things in considering who we give our money to do study and who we don't give our money to do study. So you have to be balanced on both sides. It has to be technically sound in terms of the methods, in terms of your introduction, in terms of how you discuss the problem, in terms of your research questions and research objectives, but also it also has to be ethically sound. Then I've talked about the budget, and you also need to justify the budget and the timeline, Then I don't know how much, time is flying. Then, of course, you talk about the process, the planning process and the conducting of your study, the analysis. I've talked a lot about this. Then, of course, dissemination. So any study that is not disseminated is a waste product. So when you are conducting your study, you must start from day one to begin to think of how you are going to disseminate this study. Do you want to disseminate it as poster presentations in conferences? Do you want to organize a conference, a workshop, and disseminate your results? Or do you want to publish it in scientific journals? This is particularly true of implementation research. Implementation research is not like basic research that is conducted for the sake of conducting research. Implementation research is conducted to answer immediate questions that will remove the barriers to the effective implementation of our interventions. So dissemination is very critical. Then, of course, we talk about monitoring and evaluation of your project. So I lost the title for this slide, but I'm trying to, in summary, bring together some of the key points you need to look at when you are responding to calls for proposals, and on implementation research. One is the issue of compliance. How compliant are you? To what extent do you adhere to the instructions and requirements of the call for compliance? Then there's responsiveness. To what extent do you address the issues? Then what strategies do you use to move your teams? How competitive is your proposal? What is the quality of writing? You must write very clearly. You must take pains to make sure that, when my students, I tell them, sometimes I throw back their work at them for not constructing the tables nicely. You know, you have to construct the tables in a way that it attracts the vision, attracts the eyes to look at it, visualization, and the rest of it. So, as I want to stop, I want to ask whether we are ready to be tigers in our field. You know, I want to make sure I have some time for questions. So I want to stop at this point and take your questions. Thank you very much. Thanks for the privilege. Thanks for the patience of listening to me. Thank you, thank you. In some places we say asante, obrigado, and merci beaucoup is what we say from Brazzaville. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Okebono. Thank you. Director said, go on.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, Dr. Onyeka, please.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. So this is a time for questions.
I'm not sure what's happening with Dr. Onyeka, but thank you, Dr. Okebono. Thank you so much for this. I always say that you always, no matter what stage of your career you are in, you gotta be reminded again that you're a tiger and you should keep an eye on the target. Yeah. And once in a while, no matter what stage we are, we take our eyes off the target, and it becomes things that drill our career. Nobody says it was easy. I remember complaining to my father, the medical school was easy. He said if it was difficult. He said if it was easy, everybody would be a doctor. Exactly. So, and since then I kept quiet. I no longer complain again. But one of the things I want to ask you as I open up the questions, and people, please, if you have a question, you can type it on the chat box. There's a lot of people who asked the question that they wanted the slide, and I responded to all of you that if the speaker of our program makes slides available, we will have it available for you. But it's up to the speakers on their slide whether to share the slide or what they want to do with it. But if we do get the slide that is shared, we will distribute it to. Then it will be on our website, which we put it on the chat box at cti.org, where you will be able to download it, because sometimes it's easier that way than to try to send it across emails because of size. Thank you. One question that I have, and then why people are able to put in that question here is, when people start their career in implementation science, like you said, you can come to implementation science from every field. I'm a pediatrician. I'm an infectious disease doctor. I came to implementation science from a different background. Initially, my background was in HIV, and but I kept asking questions that was important to me. And in answering those questions, I keep designing study that I didn't know what it was called until someone told me that these studies are designing were called implementation research. So, so it's a new field. When they told me that, I said, what is that? You know, because at the time I was in medical school, do my residency, my fellowship, I never heard about implementation research. Yeah. So, but now there is something, especially WHO has made widely available in terms of the TDL toolkit and all the things. We were trying to design our training program, and I just saw that WHO had a new publication out on how to design a training project for LMICs, you know, in skills. The question I have is, there is something that we know that WHO have centers around the world where they support, and that they're able to create wider access to people in those environments. And we know that, I know one of them is the TDL project in Ghana. Is there any of these projects in Nigeria?
Okay. So can I take more questions? Do you want me to just answer?
No, you can take more questions if there are more.
Okay.
Yes, there are more questions.
So go ahead. Do you
there
want
are more questions on the chat?
Okay, so, I can read once. Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
I can read it.
Yeah, yes, Prof. The question someone is asking is, can a social worker engage in implementation research? And another question is, someone would like to know the difference between technical and ethical implementation research. There's also another question on the chat.
I think you can start, Professor Kebuna, and then as we get more questions as you finish, then we can bring them up.
Yes. So, for the slides, definitely it will be a privilege, an honor for my slide to be considered worth viewing. So, as soon as I drop out from the Zoom call, I'm going to forward the slides to Onyeka and Ngozi, so you can use it the way you want to use it. I'm happy. Then, for TDRO, and TDRO has done a lot of work in Nigeria. And I was a beneficiary of some of TDRO projects while I was in Nigeria, but they do not have the kind of center you talk about, which exists in what's it called, in Ghana. So we have some centers in different countries. We don't have, my colleague in Ghana, Professor Margaret Ajampong, is the one driving the work in Ghana. But we also have Professor, sorry, just get it here. Professor Lumide Ogundausi, who is currently in the university, medical university Ondo in Akure, University of Medical Sciences, University of Medical Sciences in Akure. It was formerly a staff of TDRO, and he was actually in charge. He was the driver of the implementation research toolkit, which I'm looking at here. So he is trying to set up such a platform, but we also encourage, like the CITER, platforms like CITER, we encourage you to consider becoming WHO collaborating centers, where you'll be driving implementation science, in that region. Currently, we have WHO collaborating centers globally in different fields, not just implementation research. We have about 845 of them globally, but in the whole of Africa, we have 29. And out of these 29, 16 are in South Africa. You have one in Nigeria, University of Ibadan, and that is on mental health. So we need organizations like yours to think of enrolling and becoming designated as WHO collaborating centers to coordinate this kind of activities of TDR work. So that we'll be very happy. Social worker and IR, definitely. That is even where you need it the most. Social workers work with interventions. They use different models, different theories, different types of interventions to address their clients. The question is, sometimes you find that the intervention that is working elsewhere is not working in Nigeria, it's not working in Enugu, it's not working in Nsukka, it's not working where you are. Then you begin to ask questions, why is it not working? Then when you try to answer that question, why is it not working? Then you are talking of implementation research. So definitely social work can do implementation research. Then difference between technical and ethical implementation research. In one implementation research document, you talk about technical and you talk about ethical. Both of them are in one proposal. So technically sound means that the methods you have identified will be able to answer your research questions and achieve your study objectives. So the protocol is technically sound. Ethically sound is that it does not infringe on the rights of the study subject. You are not going to exploit people. You are not going to abuse the rights of individuals to be able to achieve or to be able to answer your research questions. And for instance, you want to, recently somebody sent me a protocol from Kenya, Nairobi, and they were looking at schistosomiasis. They were looking at the use of praziquantel in school children, the impact, and they were going to bleed children in primary schools. And they were telling me that I should give them a waiver, that that it is a program, is a routine program activity, that it is not a research activity. Then when I read the protocol, and I found that they were going to take blood samples from children, and you are telling me that it does not require ethical review. Such protocol requires serious ethical review, because you want to know whether the children you are going to collect samples from are protected. Are you going to exploit them? Are you going to, just abuse them because they are children? They don't know their rights from their, so stuff like that. So that's what we talk of ethical sound and technically sound. Both of them make the same protocol. So if your protocol is technically sound but not ethically sound, it can be rejected. If it is ethically sound and not technically sound, it can be rejected. I hope I've answered those questions. So I can take more questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. There are a lot more questions. Dr. Dese says, achieving worthwhile goals takes time. So how is time management related to the attributes of the tiger?
So time management, the tiger is focused. The tiger does not get distracted. The tiger does not, spend time on frivolities. So you are focused. You are everything in life takes time. Everything in life takes time. The way you are focused and the way you manage your time is what makes the difference between two people who joined academics in a particular year, one rising to become a professor after 10 years, and the other one remaining as a lecturer 1, lecturer 2, or senior lecturer after 20 years. So it's your time management. How much of distractions do you allow in your life compared to when you are doing the things you should be doing? Yes, any other question? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to.
So another question says, what are the dimensions of management to be considered in implementation research?
The dimensions of management to be considered is this one we are just talking about, time management. We also talk about the management of resources. We also talk about management of relationships, your team membership, how you work with your team, and of course also with your mentors, where you have mentors. So these are human management, human resource management, material resource management, time management. All of these are issues that you really need to factor into your work if you have to be successful. And mismanagement of any one of them could disrupt your achievements, your goal. Mm-hmm.
Yes, another question says, you indicated that implementation research benefits from collaborations across all fields. How can those in the social sciences foster such interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary collaborations to support their work?
Yeah, so depending on the subject you are looking at, human beings are complex, because here, particularly when we're talking from those of us in public health, we are trying to serve, in all cases, we are serving human beings. Human beings are a complex whole. So you cannot judge a human being, only from the material point of view. You cannot judge a human being by just the culture, even the way the person interprets the culture. In the social sciences, we understand that, when we talk about the action theory, we said the way an individual interprets, a situation depends on the way the person perceives that situation, which could be different from another person. So we are talking about interpretative cause of phenomenon. So somebody may slap you and you smile, especially if it's somebody, if you permit me, somebody you are crushing on, you will just smile and go. But another person will give you, like a slap, and the way you react will be different to that person. So human beings are complex, and this is why you need to get in collaboration with other people. So when I was in the University of Nigeria, most of my studies are studies that we say biomedical and social, biomedical and biosocial teams. That is what we do. So when it comes to the healthy part of it, much as we say that health is not medicine, but you need some elements of understanding, appreciation of the biological aspect of that phenomenon you are looking at to be able to address it. So you need people from the biomedical sciences. Then as a social scientist, you have the advantage of understanding and being able to interpret the behavior of, you have the necessary tools to interpret the behavior of individuals, without necessarily versifying your interpretation, without taking any action. There's a way, if you're a good social scientist, a trained social scientist, you can stay in a community with participant observation and understand the rudiments of the behavior of the individuals vis-a-vis the technology, the intervention, the medicine, the food. Sometimes you take food to people, you can give people food and they will not eat it, even though they are hungry. If at the back of their mind, they are suspecting that the food is poisoned, they'll just take it from you, smile with you, but they will not eat it. So stuff like that. So that is why the biomedical scientists need the social scientists to understand the nitty-gritties of the behavior and the culture of the people. The social scientists need the biomedical scientists to understand the medical aspects. So you are going to talk about schistosomiasis. What do you know about praziquantel? What do you know about the dosage? What do you know about the time to give it? What do you know about schistosomiasis in terms of water contact behaviors and stuff like that? So these are the things where you need to network and build a team. So if you really want to do implementation research, as a social scientist, you are needed to understand the behavior of the people you serve, but you also need the biomedical scientist to understand the health needs of those people you serve from the medical perspective. Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, there are a few more questions. We're over the hour by 7 minutes, but let me ask this question that says, how do we find topics in implementation research that need urgent answers? Where do we start from? For instance, an unemployed person who has questions in healthcare.
You see, if you have questions in healthcare, your questions must be specific. So, like I said, we gave out a call for impact grants, and we ask people to apply. If you just ask questions that are broad, not tied to anything, you won't be able to say, this is the problem I want to address. But when you find such impact grant calling you to apply and get $15,000 to conduct studies, within 6 to 12 months period, you ask yourself, where do we have health problems? Where? Health problems are many. They are of different types. Our professor just told us about HIV/AIDS. Is it in HIV/AIDS you want to look at? Do you want to look at the issue of, the uptake of antiretrovirals? Is that what you want? Do you think it is low in Nigeria? And you want to answer the question of why it is low? Then you have the problem. Then you now go to the implementer of that program to ask, what is the status of uptake of praziquantel, antiretroviral in Enugu State? It is the implementer that will not define the problem, tell you the problem they have in the field. If you are looking at area of HIV/AIDS, if you are looking at area of neglected tropical diseases, you also need you go to the person in the implementation team who is working on neglected tropical disease. Let them define the problems they are having. What is it they want to do that they are not able to do? You know, you want to look into polio, so you just pick an aspect of health and go to the people who work on that aspect of health. They are the ones to give you the problem they have there. You don't just sit in your office and decide that there's problem in polio, problem in malaria, problem in HIV/AIDS, problem in, if you just do that, you may not be able to get the true definition and the true ramification of the problem. And even when you do, you may not, at the end of the day, your results may not serve the purpose of providing health, because there won't be any buy-in. So it's good to get the implementer to help you define your questions.
Thank you so much, Professor Krebona. Thank you so much. And for all of you that attended and took the time, thank you so much. I just wanted to remind you that the Center for Translation and Implementation Research at the University of Nigeria is the research center for the Nigerian Implementation Science Alliance, which means all the work we do here is open to all of the people who are members, but whether they are institutional members or individual members of the Nigerian Implementation Science Alliance. So these conferences are brought to you free. There are a couple of them. One is the first Monday on every month. We do bring in a speaker, just like we did with Professor Krebona from WHO. We bring from NIH, we bring from US institutions, we bring from Nigerian institutions. And once every quarter, we have a week-long grant writing process where we bring in people from NIH and bring in people who have received grant funding before to share their grants and then be able to go over it and give us advice on how we can put a proposal together. Whenever these things are available, it is available on the CITIA website, which you see on the chat box as CITIA.org, or the NISA website, which is nisaresearch.org. Also, if you become an individual member of NISA, you will become part of the weekly research project that we do organize here. So once in a while we have a topic, we will put it out for you to join us. If you do have a question, you can go to our website at citia.org and then send us a question, and we would address that. Just like Professor Krebona has said that he will make these slides available. This slide will be available at the CITIA website, and it will be on the NISA website for your download. Thank you, Professor Krebona. We hope that you will come back again, and we're very grateful for the time you spent with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, and thanks, colleagues. Somebody asked about how to become a UMV. Please, you see the links are put there. Just click on the links, and it will take you to where you get the information. Prof, thanks again for the opportunity. I really appreciate this. Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor
questions.
Yeah.
So I know we didn't address all the questions, but we will take them from the chat box and send to him. If there are special ones he wants, he can respond to us and we'll forward it to you. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Please.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending this webinar, and we'll see you about the similar time next month in December for another interesting webinar. So happy to have you here today, and have a very nice rest of the week. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.